solve it quickly. So first of all, we should be very comfortable with drawing with this, rough drawing, like what we call PV diagram. So what we said that, let's say there is an isotherm at 150 degrees Celsius. Have I mentioned the temperature? No. But how we can find out the temperature? So can you tell me, Pooja, how we can find out the temperature for stage 1 quickly?
So from the saturated steam table we can find out.
Because its quality is 0.75.
Yes, sir.
Good. So that we know, and that is 150 degrees Celsius. You can check 150 degrees Celsius Tsat. So there is isotherm. Okay. And you are somewhere, let's say here, okay, and then you are going isobarically to 200 degrees Celsius. Let's say here we have 200 degrees Celsius. Here we have another isotherm. This is 200 degrees Celsius. And this is 150 degrees Celsius. You should be comfortable with this diagram. This is stage 1. This is stage 2. Okay. So regarding work done, it's very simple that this area under this curve, or P, pressure is constant, so P V2 minus V1. So this should be equal to P V specific volume stage 2 minus V1, because we calculate work done in terms of per kg, kilojoule per kg. And then for Q, we have to apply this what we know as first law, right? And for that, now, what you did for Q, by the way, how we did you? So at constant pressure, right, you can prove that Q is nothing but H2 minus H1. You agree? Anyone? Yes, right. It's very easy. You can show it. Huh? Should I show it, or it's clear to everyone? It's not difficult. Okay. If you write the first law, dou Q is equal to dE, and since we have only this form of energy is internal energy, so du plus dW, and the only form of work is PdV, but pressure is constant, so I can always add VdP. Okay, so dQ is d of, this is nothing but U plus PV, dQ is dH at constant pressure. Okay, so this is since this is a constant pressure process, Q you can directly calculate by simply H2 minus H1. Okay, so we have expression for this and expression for Q. So now we should get an answer. So let's open a new page and we'll go to the steam table. Why don't we write H2 H1 here itself? We have some space. So let's go to steam table, 5 bar 150, just to check the answers. 5 bar. One, two, three, four, 5 bar, and temperature is 150. Temperature 5 bar. Although in my book it's given 151.84, but doesn't matter. That's fine. Okay. So you can correct it. Right? You can say it 151 point. I think in book it's roughly given. So you can say it. What is anyone is seeing the steam table? Just check at 5 bar what temperature.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So write it correctly. Yeah. 150. This is wrong. Let's make it. Let's correct it. Huh? 151. I roughly written 151.84. This also 151.84. So if you see stage one, let's change the color. So we have at this 5 bar Hg and Hf, how much? So Hg we have Souvik, you have calculator? Souvik, Amar,
Yes, sir.
anyone? Calculator,
Yes, sir.
calculator. Just help me in calculation. I'll write down and
Yes.
you can tell me the value. So 5 bar Hg we have 2747.5 and HF we have 640.12 according to my steam table. So we quickly calculate H2. H2 will be nothing but HGX plus HF1 minus X plus HF1 minus X. Just quickly calculate and tell me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sorry, this is H1, no? Not H2. H1. H1.
Sir, 2220.655.
So H1 is coming. Come again. 2.
2220.655. 0.655.
0.65. Okay. Now go to H2. H2 is superheated steam, and what we have is 5 bar 200. Okay, 5 bar 200. Fine. 5 bar 200 superheated steam. So those who have steam table, they should also follow me. Those who don't have yet, or you are not trying for, it means you are not serious. Okay, 5 bar 200. So 5 bar 200, I can see the enthalpy is, that is H2 is directly, which is nothing but only gas, is 2855.1. Okay, kilojoule per kg. This is superheated. So what is H2 minus H1? Sorry, just check. Q is H2 minus H1. What we are getting?
Sir, 634.45.
Okay, now let me check the rate. So 634.45.
4.45.
Okay. So now anyone has any comment on this? Let me see what answer is given in the book. Yeah, I'm getting yes. So that's what given in the book. Anyone has any comment, or you can check where you were making mistake in the last class.
Sir, I did it by calculating U1 and U2 in two different stages.
That is also yeah, true. That you can
And
do. I think. Oh,
EU,
probably that. I got your point. So you are saying you calculated delta U by H2 minus P2 V2 and H1 minus P1 V1, right? P is constant, of course.
no, sir, I got the value of U1 and U2 directly from the table. UG and
Oh, okay. I got your point. That is also possible, but then it's a error of different table has. So how much difference you are getting by the way?
sir, I got 683.825 as the final
Oh,
answer.
it's huge. So see, my suggestion, as I commented in the last class also, that don't rely on this U. U is that's why you remember that in the first problem also I calculated U through this path H minus PV. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that's what we should follow. Don't take this U from table. I generally avoid because that always leads to some I mean answer not matching with the textbook or something like this. I'm not saying you're wrong, but don't rely on those U values. Okay. Okay. So this is done. Now about the work done. The work done should be straight. So I'll tell you what is V2. So this I leave on you guys. I'll just give you. Or anyone getting the wrong answer for work done also? Work done should be 72.5 0.35 kilojoule per kg. Anyone getting different from this? Then only I will try. So it's straightforward. All you need to calculate V2, which is nothing but superheated. So Vg directly you can write, and V1 is nothing but Vg at 1, whatever that, x plus Vf 1 minus x. You know the pressure also, so it should be straightforward. Anyone got different from this? If someone has tried, if not, then you try. I don't think there should be, I mean, the answer will be wrong. Okay, fine. Pooja, you have it tried? If not, then try it. And why don't someone does a quick calculation and just check? I'll just write Vg and Vf because class illustration should be completed in class itself. Pooja, you try. I'm Savik, you also. I'm just telling you the values. You can also check, but just for doing it quickly. 1 bar, sorry, what was the temperature pressure initially? I forgot. Oh, 5 bar, okay.
5 bar.
5 bar, yeah. Because it's isobaric process. So 5 bar, we have Vg. So Vg is, so at stage 1, Vg is given at 0.3747 meter cube per kg, of course. And Vf, as you can expect, the fluid volume will be very small as compared to liquid. It's 0.001. This much is enough. Okay, if you want one more point, 0.09. So, shall we quickly calculate V1? And Pooja, you tell me what is V2 from superheated steam table?
Yes, sir, I'm checking.
Yeah, you go to superheated steam table. There you go to 5 bar and 200 degrees Celsius. That will give you directly V2.
Sir, V1 is coming 0.2812.
So let me write it clearly. V1 is coming 0.2812. Fine. Yeah, fine. Correct. You are right. V2. Yes, Pooja.
So 0.424.
0.424. Yes, perfect. So with this, you calculate. You should get the answer because both the calculations are correct. I just checked. Okay. Fine, guys. Now, so this is done. Now I have some more things to discuss with you. Achha, before I forgot, let me save these pages for you. Save. Is there any other format? I can save it in the form of. Achha, if I save it in the form of GIF, is it like everything will be replayed the way I am writing? Any idea? Okay, let's see. Fine, PNG is fine. Don't worry. JPEG. Okay, and this is class illustration 2. Class illustration 2. Okay, so this is saved. Now I have a few questions for you, and you can think over it. So let's say there is some isotherm. So let's say this is some quality XA. Okay. So when you will go, so can you find out the constant quality line? Can anyone guess how it will look like? Constant quality line. Anyone? Okay, do you understand what does mean by constant quality line? Bhavna, you want to try?
So it will be little bit tilted but vertical, like vertical.
Yeah, it will be a curve, not vertical. I have an answer. So constant quality means you have to find out the locus of all those points where the steam quality is safe, right? Let's say if I say yes, right?
Yes, sir.
So
Like
Yeah.
it.
kind of parallel to the curve.
Right side of the curve means parallel to
Perfect. Yeah.
side of the
Not parallel. I mean, we don't know parallel or what, but yeah, something
Similar
like
to
that.
the curve.
Similar. Similar is the correct word, like this. And the simple answer for this is that if you will take a vertical line, let's say like this. Okay. So you know that as we go up, we go to the higher temperature regime, because if you will plot the isotherms, these are, oh, then after that it's a period. So as you go up, we have this higher temperature lines. So if you fix your total volume, this is the total volume, right? V total. So if you fix your V total, if you go to higher temperature, what do you think? Steam quality will increase or decrease? Which will have major contribution to total volume, VG or VF at higher temperature?
VG.
VG, right? So as T increases, VG will make more contribution to V total. It means X will also increase. So if let's say you here this point corresponds to X equal to 0.8. So if you go vertically upward in this line, then here at these points X are higher. So if you are looking for X equal to 0.8, you have to go left. So probably X point 0.8 will be here on this isotherm, like this. Sorry. Okay. So similarly at higher temperature X point 0.8 will be more towards left, so on. So these are constant quality lines. So that's what I wanted to discuss. That this way you can draw various constant quality lines. So just have a look on this. I can ask it in the exam that also draw a constant quality line. Okay. So this way we finish. Another thing, you are free to use this what we know this entropy, this Mollier diagram also. If I don't mention anything, you can use whatever you want. So I'll just say new page. So if you want to use Mollier diagram, then do you think only with Mollier diagram we can solve this problem? Depends that what kind of Mollier diagram is there. If everything is given there, then of course you can do. From here, what we can get, if we solve that problem, the problem which we are solving, how we'll go for that? So what is Q? So just see how we use it. Q is what? H2 minus H1 in this case, right? So we have to follow a constant pressure line. Okay. So what is pressure? 5 bar. I don't know 5 bar curve is there or not. So I think blue lines are pressure lines. Yes, blue lines are pressure line. 0.5, 1, 2. Is it visible or I should zoom it? Pooja, is it visible? Visible, no? Let's zoom it a bit. Fine. So you can do it by this diagram also. Answer may vary a bit. That's fine. So we have this blue line is nothing but pressure line. So 1, 2, and then 4. So I think this should be 5. I'm not sure whether it's 5 or not. Let's assume it is 5. No? This one. I may be wrong. I'm assuming it's 5. So 5 bar, and then what is the temperature? 151 point something. Right? So on this phase line, right? Where is the phase line? The red solid curve. So if you follow 5 bar here, I think this one. So here we have isotherm. So this is, you can see this is 150 degree isotherm, this green color one. This is 150, and our was what? Slightly higher. So let's say 151 point something. Okay. So this one is ours. So this is our temperature line. T equals to 151 point. 151 point?
86.
86. And this is our pressure line. So here we are. This is our stage 1. Okay, on this phase boundary, and then we are going to superheated regime isobarically. So we have to be on the blue line 5 bar, and we will go to 200 degrees Celsius. So we have to follow this blue line, and we go to 200 here, because the second isotherm is this one. This is 200 degree isotherm. Okay, so simple. This is stage 1. This is stage 2. And then how you will see H? So you directly draw. So at stage 1, if you are interested in what is the H, so it's simply this. Like you have to go like this. Just check the value. This is your H1, and then follow this.
Sir,
Am I making any mistake?
sir, actually the steam quality is 0.75. Hence the point
Yeah,
one will be little
I
low.
agree. I agree. Very sorry. I completely forgot that our quality is not 1. Very sorry. You are right. Thank you. So let's go there. Yes. Anyway, the idea is that you got it, right? That's how we do it. I'm very sorry. I thought we have completely saturated. He's right. Okay. Good. Always be observant, because I have so many things to cover that sometimes I miss. So yes. So where is that? So it's not there, na? We have to draw it. So these thin red lines are quality lines. So we have 0.95, 0.90, maybe somewhere here, right? Who was it? Hello? Yeah, who noticed this?
Yes, sir.
Rishi, it was Rishi.
Rishi. Just mention the name. It's good that this way I would be able to, I mean, remember all of you. So now it's fine, Rishi. I think we are here somewhere. No?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So now you can do it. So just, just as a practice, I discussed this, that in case someone is interested, yes, you are free to use this small a diagram. Okay, guys. So this way we end this topic, in the sense the first law for mostly this, what we discussed for closed system. Okay. What we discussed, most of the problem was closed system, because okay, now we'll go for open system or flow process. Okay, so you solve the assignment third, and if any doubt, of course I am there. So now we'll go to a new topic, and that is first law for flow process, and that is more kind of more practical, in the sense that if in terms of engineering application. So let me open it for you. So still we are doing first law. We did it for closed system. Now we are going for what we know as flow processes, which is more practical in many, which is very, you can find it in almost all industrial application. And as a chemical engineer, we are supposed to know the whole, engineering aspect of this domain, like related calculations, concept, how we model this. So what we are going to cover is very interesting, and I think new for you also. Probably what we have just covered, you were a bit familiar, but for this you may not be completely. You may be very, the familiarity level can be very, very low. I'll tell you why. You have seen such kind of equation which we are going to discuss in terms of Bernoulli's equation, but that is very preliminary. What we are going to discuss is more generic. Okay, so we are now diving into the new topic, of course, within first law of thermodynamics, that is first law for flow process or open systems. Okay, right. So it means mass will come in, mass will go out. Before that, we have trapped the mass. Great. So we want to do the energy balance, and today you have to listen a bit carefully. We want to do energy balance ultimately for this flow process. Acha, before we go to this flow process, just tell me from your intuition, maybe Tanay Gaurav can tell me from the intuition that what is easier for us, or for as an engineer, or for as an experimentalist, what is easier for us, either to analyze a fixed space, or fixed, you can say that fixed location in space. That is option 1 I am giving you. Option 2, fixed set of particles or mass. Tanay Gaurav, what do you think? Which one is easier for us? What do you think? When I say fixed location in space, means it can be a bounded area or bounded volume, which is fixed. What do you think, Tanay, from your, which one should be easier?
Fixed set of particles or fixed mass, I guess.
Is it? So are you
Yeah,
saying,
more
Tanay,
like-
that no, it's fine. I mean, it can be. One can think intuitively like that. That's fine. Let's say I'm giving you a practical problem. That if I'll ask you that I want the velocity details of a flow through a pipe. So let's say the flow volume is 5 meter cube, volumetric flow rate, 5 meter cube per hour, or let's say per second. So can you calculate how many molecules will be there? Too many, right?
Yeah.
Will you follow all of them?
No.
So it's not wise. Okay.
Yes.
It's if you see from calculation, from analysis point of view, it's almost impossible. Almost impossible. Even today, you can do some very specialized experiment where you can follow molecules, but otherwise, as an engineer, we are looking for to engineer a problem, practical solutions. So following fixed set of mass is never practical, right, Tanay? You got convinced?
Yes, I get it. But
this
in
is-
all the properties, we generally take the average motion. Like in a group of particles, the motion is random, like that is taken. But on the
No,
average
I'll come to that.
velocity,
That is not the domain of this subject, but maybe sometime I'll throw some light on that. You have some mixed, insights from various theories. That's fine. Gradually, when you will grow, these things, these understanding will be more clear. So you have to wait for that. That what you are discussing, that is the beyond the scope of this course. I will not go there. But anyway, that whatever thought you have, that will be cleared later on in later courses. Okay, Tana? So hold on.
yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So right now, but take it granted that fixed set of particles following them, it's very difficult. Whereas it's always easier to fix a location or a bounded area in the space and then analyze things there. For example, you fix a location in a flow through a pipe, and there you always measure the velocity. Whatever particle is coming, doesn't matter whether particle A, particle B. What I mean to say, that let's say if you fix a location here, and all you want to so fixed location, and whether particle A is coming, whenever it will come, particle B is coming, you don't care. You only care that whatever without the identity of the particle, you want to note down the velocity here, whatever particle passes from that point. Okay, so that is always easier rather than following these A, B, and C particles. That is a difficult task. Okay, and not practical also. You will not get anything at the end. Fine. Then, so rather than location, one can fix such kind of bounded area also. 3D, 2D. Okay. So fixed space. What is the name of this fixed space? Anyone has ever heard?
Control volume.
Control volume. Control volume. Control volume. Whereas if you follow this one, this is control mass. Okay. Great. Now, another question. To Samira. So can you tell me, let's say Newton's second law, right? That is rate of change of momentum equal to forces, or energy balance, like first law. Is it applicable to control mass or control volume fundamentally? Can you make a guess, Samira?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you got my question?
Yes, I'm saying it is valid.
No, not valid. I am asking that either Newton's second law, that is momentum conservation, or first law, that is energy balance, we apply it to control volume or control mass, or we apply it for a fixed space or fixed set of particles. What do you think? Or is it valid for both? Or it's difficult to guess? What do you think?
It is valid for both.
No. Sanskar Patni. Okay, you think over it, Samira, and let's see what Sanskar said. Sanskar, what do you think?
Yes, sir.
You didn't get the question.
Sir, I think it should be valid for both.
Okay, so your answer. Now, any guess from anyone?
Sir, there is always
Sir.
mass coming in and coming out. So the rate at which the mass changes should be constant.
Forget
Not-
about the rate. I am asking whether it's valid for a fixed set of particles. More fundamental question. These laws, like momentum conservation or first law, that is energy balance, is it valid for a fixed set of particles, or we can apply it for a fixed space also?
So it
Fundamentally.
is valid for both.
No.
It's valid for both.
No. See, you can modify your equations. That's a different thing, and then you can apply it for both. But remember, fundamentally, either Newton's second law or energy balance, these are only valid for this. All fundamental laws either Newton's second law or first law of thermodynamics, these all are only strictly valid for control mass. There should not be any confusion in this. Okay, now so that is one thing. Okay, our one restriction is that these laws you can only apply, and I'm telling you something very interesting and very profound, that fundamental laws are only valid for fixed set of particles, that is control mass. On the other hand, we just discussed that from engineering aspect or from practical purposes, this is easier. From practical purpose, control volume is?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, in the derivation of Navier-Stokes equation, we apply in second law for control volume.
No. You think so because the derivation which is covered in your class, that's a a very approximated derivation. That is not a correct derivation. Whatever you have done in your fluid mechanics course, some like it has done in very primitive way, I will say. There is something more profound which you will confront when you will go to your third year. Okay, you are in second year right now, right? I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. When you go to third year, you will see the more profound derivation, and there you will come to know that okay, although I have done this Navier-Stokes derivation in a very in the calculus framework, that's what you did, right? That you use Taylor series. So something is coming in and then something is going out. That's just to get the Navier-Stokes expression. But fundamentally, if you go from fundamental principle from Newton's second law, then first we apply it for control mass, and then gradually we break it in terms of control volume. And that theorem is called. Yes. That theorem is called Reynolds transport theorem. I am not going to cover it. What I will do, so this is a very general theorem for bridging control mass to, so it's a bridge to control volume, so that you can apply fundamental principle first here and then automatically they will get modified in terms of control volume. Okay, so this is called RTT. Since RTT is not the part of this course and it will take enormous time, so I will derive something like RTT for our case, energy balance. If you want more general case, I'll share a link with you. Okay. So that is one lecture by Professor V. Shankar from IIT Kanpur. And when I was a student, he used to be my favorite teacher, and I used to be his favorite student anyway. So that lecture I will share with you on NPTEL, a very good lecture. There you can see this Reynolds transport theorem. And there you will see that fundamentally you apply this principle to control mass, and then with some mathematical manipulation, okay, you can go to control volume. So don't keep this confusion in your mind. Even if you did it, you did the derivation in a bit primitive way. That's not the fundamental way. But at your level in first year, when you did this fluid mechanics course, third semester, I guess, right?
Yes, sir. Last
So
semester.
yeah. So at so early stage, it is not wise to introduce you this such kind of theorem. That's why we avoid, and we tell you more general, simpler way. But the more generic way is this Reynolds transport theorem. Okay, and there I will share that lecture link with you. Okay, and you can go through that lecture. Very nice derivation, similar to that derivation I am doing today. Okay, that is more generic, but I don't want to go there. I'll just write down what this RTT says. Huh? In fact, you see there. Let's do it for this thing. So now this confusion is clear. If somebody asks you ever in the future that fundamental laws like first law of thermodynamics or Newton's second law, it is valid for control volume or control mass, you say that fundamentally it is valid for control mass, fixed set of particles. Then with mathematics and using calculus, we can bridge control mass with control volume. That's a different story. Okay. So does it make sense what I'm trying to say? Hello? Niyaj? Muskan, are you getting what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Bhavna, clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just I'll now write, sorry, just to summarize what we discussed. Momentum balance, or let's say energy balance, these principles are valid for control mass. And then using Reynolds transport theorem, RTT, you can bridge it to control volume. With this background, now we go to our energy balance for flow system. So Souvik, lecture recording is going on, I guess, no? By default.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fine. So we will just, I will just say a few words and then we will take a break. Okay. So you see that, let me put it in slide mode. So what you see here is a control volume shown by this black dashed line. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's slightly inside. I mean, don't think that your control volume boundary is outside this pipe. It's inside pipe. Just for the clarity, it's on outside. Okay. So this is our control volume, and that's what we want to analyze. Now, what is our control mass? As I said, if you want to do energy balance, so what is our purpose first of all? Our purpose is to get the master equation for such flow systems. Of That is the master equation or governing equation, energy equation for such flow systems. So just first read this thing, that it says that d by dt means E of this control volume. The rate of change of total energy of this control volume is equal to m dot I is mass flow rate at inlet. This is multiplied by enthalpy at inlet plus this specific kinetic energy Vi square by 2. See, mi Vi square by 2 is total kinetic energy. If you divide it by mass, then it will be specific kinetic energy. So we always talk in terms of specific things, right? Now, specific volume, specific entropy. That's why you always use small letters. Specific enthalpy, specific kinetic energy. So similarly, specific gravitational energy, GZI, right? Plus Q dot, how much heat has been given to the system, minus again this same quantity is multiplied by exit mass flow rate at the outlet, that is exit, E stands for exit, and then work, shaft work. I'll discuss what is shaft work. So shaft work is nothing but shaft is always used by the system. I'll write these things when we'll again meet. Shaft work is always used for by the system. So if let's say your fluid is moving through a pipe and there is a fan inside it, a static fan, I mean a fan, okay, or a simple, you can say, turbine kind of thing. What will happen to the turbine? Maybe what will happen to the turbine or fan if you keep it in the path of flow?
It will rotate and
it will rotate. So it means your fluid is working, right, on something.
Yes, sir.
So that is then in that case shaft work is positive. If fluid works or your system is working on shaft kind of thing, something rotating, then shaft work is positive. Okay. On the other hand, if you are rotating a shaft in your fluid, then in that case device, rotating device is working on the fluid. In that case, W shaft will be negative because shaft work is always by the system. So if work is being done on the system, W shaft will be negative. So we want to reach to this equation, which is valid for control volume. So we'll see the derivation that how going starting from control mass will go to control volume. So just before we leave for a break, this is our control mass shown by this red dashed line. So this is my control mass at time t. And as I think Naman or someone said that fixed set, I mean, he said that it is, it is easier to follow fixed set of particles, which is not, but for derivation, we have to follow them. And then eventually, from mathematics point of view, and then eventually we'll go to control volume. So this red colored boundary, this region bounded by this red dashed line, that is my control mass at time t. And I have to follow it. So what will happen at t plus dt? How my control mass will look like? It will occupy a new space or new region in the space at later time. At time t plus dt, it will look like this. Okay, I am again going back. At time t, it's look like this, and then at time t plus dt, our expectation is it should like this. Okay, so I am following a fixed set of particles because liquid is moving, so that's how this will that my fixed set of particle will take shape at later time. So can you tell me in control, in this control, say a control mass which is constant, I mean at time t and time t plus dt, is control volume also remains constant? The shape of this red boundary and green boundary? No, it is changing. Right? It has to change because you are trying to apply the principles for control mass. So in these two envelopes, red envelope and green envelope, which one is the common region? Anyone? Roughly, which one is the common region? Our original control volume, marked by this black dashed line, isn't it? That black dashed line is outside the, it has shown outside the pipe, it's not outside the pipe. Did you get my point? See, it's like this. If you'll see this, if you will see this, what we say, this green boundary and red boundary. Red boundary is the envelope of that fixed set of particles at time t, and green boundary, green envelope is the envelope of those same set of particles at later time. So what is common in these two? This region is common in both envelopes, isn't it? Sanskar, isn't it? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I want more responses. What do you think, Bhavna? Nidhi, Muskan? Yes.
Yes, sir, we are getting. Yes,
Okay, perfect. Because if I don't listen anything, it seems that you guys are stuck. So yeah. Okay. So with this picture, I mean this physical picture, we take a break and we meet after, let's say, 7-8 minutes. 10:1 is so 10:08. Okay. Chalo, take a break. Listen some music. In so short time, that's all you can do for refreshment.